I'm so excited and I hope you guys are ready because today I'm finally building my dream PC. The CPU that I chose was the Ryzen 9 7950X. One day when I was scrolling through Amazon, I saw a CPU on sale, and since I was having CPU problems with my old PC, I was fiending for a new CPU, leading to a Google search of what is the best Ryzen CPU. Boom, the 7950X, the first result, which just so happened to also be on sale, so I impulse bought as quickly as possible. And then I learned a couple things, that the 3D version is significantly better for gaming, that the 9000 series was already out, and also that this is an AM5 chip, not an AM4, meaning we need a new motherboard. I picked the MAG X670E Tomahawk Wi-Fi. Originally, I was going to go with the NZXT board, but that one's been on a fake sale forever, and this one is cheaper and fits my needs a little bit better. When it comes to RAM, I went with this T-Force Delta RGB. I was looking for DDR5, 600 megahertz. I got 32 gigabytes because that should be enough for now. You can never have enough storage, so I got a 4TB 990 EVO Plus NVMe SSD. The CPU bracket I put on earlier wasn't necessary. I just wanted it to help with the thermal paste mess. And I definitely didn't need a 5th gen SSD, but it works with my motherboard and I got this for a pretty good price. I'll put some affiliate links down in the description. If you're interested in any of these parts and use the link, it will help support the channel. I really appreciate you. Speaking of unnecessary, we have our massive case, the Be Quiet Light Base 900FX. We could have gone with the 600, but with this build, bigger is better. What about desk space? Desk space? Who needs that? Bro is super thick as well. I spent a few minutes just exploring the case and seeing all the accessories that were included. This right here is really cool. It's like an adjustable GPU holder. That's pretty nice. Being able to remove this front panel made this build a lot easier. With 2 built-in fan headers, it made installing extra fans really easy, but this is where I realized I bought the wrong fans. Because I thought that the exhaust was the reverse fan, but it was the intakes that were reversed. I found out the top and the bottom are removable to make cleaning super easy. At this point, it's getting very repetitive, but there's removable panels, so installing radiators and fans is also really easy. I went ahead and removed this hard drive cage because the extra space for cable management is more valuable to me. Finally, time to drop the motherboard into the case and screw around a little bit. I didn't want to get overwhelmed with cables, so for the rest of the build, we will slowly be plugging everything in. First was our audio cable, goes down here in the bottom corner. Next, it was time for the most complicated part, the front panel connectors. I needed to pay close attention to my motherboard's instruction manual to make sure that I was plugging every single one of the pins into the right spot. Wait, what? This case says I'm all connected into one cable? There is a couple issues with this. I spent about 30 minutes trying to find the front panel connectors because I didn't know they would all be connected. And also, some people might want to leave out the LED or the reset button, but you can't really do that. Now it's time for the USB-C. This is very important to me. Having 2 USB-Cs on the back and 1 on the front panel, also really helpful because my last PC only had 1 in the back. USB-C is becoming really common and having more is going to help out in the future. Now it's time for the USB 3. Honestly, this connector is not my favorite. I ended up getting some braided extension cables for my power supply, just to clean up the look a little bit. I'm just going to install my CPU power cables and my motherboard power cable so they are ready for the power supply. I ordered 6 Be Quiet Lightwing 120mm PWM high-speed fans for the bottom intake and the radiator. At some point, I would like to replace the bottom intake fans with the 140mm reverse intake fans that are included with the case, but I have not seen those available online. So hopefully that's something that we can get soon. Next, we have our CPU cooler, which I went with the Thermalright TH360 V2 Ultra ARGB Sync. Originally, I was going to get a Be Quiet AIO just to match the whole Be Quiet theme that we got going on here. That wasn't going to arrive on time. And honestly, I've always wanted an AIO with the screen on it, but they've always been way too expensive in DXT. So I'm pretty happy I stumbled upon this one because the price is pretty good. I did a test install of my cooler just to see how everything would fit before adding the thermal paste. I wanted to add a decent amount of thermal paste because this CPU does get really hot. We'll have to keep an eye on that during our testing later on in the video. The pump fan goes up here. That's pretty straightforward. All of my fans are plugged into the built-in fan headers, and I decided to plug them all into system fan 1. I felt like this would be fine because I have 2 extra intake fans, meaning more air is being pushed into the case than being pushed out. Definitely something that can be adjusted later on if need be. The fan headers also have all the RGB, including the LED strips around the outside of the case, and those are all going to the J ARGB V2. The AIO screen needs to be plugged in with USB, so I'll plug that into the top, and then down at the bottom in J USB 4 is where we're going to plug the USB into the motherboard. For the power supply, I wanted something that was better than gold, so we went with the platinum 1500 watt power supply. You already know why. Unlimited power! So I just inserted all the power cables that I'm going to need. And something that's cool about this power supply is that it comes with a single cable that's 16 pin to 16 pin for your GPU. Although I didn't use it, that's pretty nice. The first thing that I plugged in was my motherboard power cables. Next was the CPU power cable and the extra CPU power cable for overclocking. Then I plugged in my fan/RGB hubs. Last, I plugged in my GPU power cables. Instead of using that single cable, I am using 3 cables that go into 1. So I had to plug in all 3. My cable management is a little jumbled, but this is good enough for me. There's a lot of space in there, so I'm calling it a day on that. Now, finally, the part that makes this truly my dream PC. And it almost didn't happen. I was gonna go for a 4080 Super because it's a better bang for your buck. And I know the new RTX 5000 series just got announced, but ever since the 4090 came out, it's been a card that I've wanted, but never thought I'd be able to get. When this MSI Gaming Slim 4090 was available on Best Buy for MSRP, I just had to get it. And although I did grind work and paid for this myself, I have to thank the viewers for showing support on my shorts, videos, and live streams. Without you guys, I wouldn't feel like I deserved this at all. I was trying to be as careful as possible when plugging in my power because I know there's been issues with overheating and losing this card would not be fun. Once again, during testing later in the video, I wanted to pay attention to the temperature just to make sure it wasn't rising over time. This case has been a massive W. So many upsides, including this GPU holder, just because it's so big. We don't want to get sag on there. We don't want anything to break. It's just really nice to have this built in. I screwed in my Wi-Fi antennae. Although I usually just plug in with the Ethernet, having built-in Wi-Fi is kind of nice just in case. Okay, this is the first boot. happened? Maybe the RAM needs to be reset. Somebody said it can take 5 minutes. I'm gonna let it sit for a minute. Ooh. Just let me admire this case real quick. Okay, 1 RAM, not putting that back on. Maybe it's just the CPU. Oh, never mind. There it is. There's no USB. Oh, fell. I thought I got scammed. Okay. Now we got Windows. This PC is mad loud right now, but we got into Windows. I actually went to the hospital before this part because my wife was pregnant with our second child. But after we got done with that, I updated all my drivers and changed my RAM speeds, and now everything works good. People usually put pops in here, right? Oh, that's perfect. But we could do more. Nice.
That's too many pops.